Peace. The Honorable One Asafo Haki Shakur Ammi. Thank you all, brothers and sisters, for checking this out. Man, let me just speak. I had a beautiful, beautiful weekend, but I felt the need to address some key things. I'm going to have to make some extreme changes, but I want to address a few things. I had a beautiful weekend with the brothers and sisters of ASCAC, which is the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. There was a conference at Bowie State University where scholars, scholars and thinkers from all over came to Bowie State to build, to gain knowledge, to share their knowledge with us as a people. I feel very grateful to have been there. And then I had the opportunity to go to Philadelphia today, earlier, uh, and listen to Master Teacher Ashwa Kwesi. But let me just get into, what are some of the things I want to kind of discuss. Let me turn this down. This is KRS-One talking about build your skills. And I was playing that because I wanted to really just address some concerns that different people may have. All right? Let me just say this. For quite some time, I've never been into this idol, hero, savior, whatever you wish to call it, mentality. I just don't roll like that. I give respect and honor, but some folk have these things go to people's mind, go to people's heads, shall I say. These persons believe that somehow that they are beyond critique. And let me just say this. I am not a member of any law enforcement, national security, federal, state, or local intelligence agencies, no federal emergency management, state, local, undercover operations. And so I'll say that, as well as the fact that I will say that I have never encouraged or committed an act of violence. My record is clean. I do not have a criminal record, criminal adult record, outside of some childhood kind of street stuff. I am from Baltimore, so I was in the streets. What do you expect? But I haven't committed any acts of violence that is documented, uh, and no acts of felony. I've served honorably in the United States Navy, not by my necessary thing I wanted to do or thought that it was inspired to do, as well as I have currently been employed for the past 7 years. And so I have a record of being a professional black man. Have not gotten any, I do not do drugs or alcohol. I have not abused a woman. And I do not have any children outside of any, well, I don't have any children at all, but I certainly do not have any that anyone could speculate that may be mine, shall I say. And for the most part, I am a very, very healthy brother. I've read several hundred books. I'm quite reasonable. I rarely use profanity. Uh, at particular times I may say no good, some or something. When speaking, I try to be politically correct. I don't try to use language, strong language, inappropriately. All right. And through wisdom, sometimes you learn how or when to say some things. And I bring all this up because there are some out here, and I sincerely do believe that my analysis of situations and conditions tend to sometimes be, very deep. I'm also, as well as a member of ASCAC, I sit on the board of the Baltimore chapter of the Black Psychologists Association. I've studied several hundreds of books, black psychology, and as well as have gotten a lot of experience in understanding human interaction, relationships, male, female, as well as families in different organizations and communities. Through research as well as working with individuals, I've been able to see some things. But also, I mean, and there are many different forces that can determine human behavior. I want to be concrete. I don't want to be too speculative when I'm thinking about my survival, when I'm thinking about the survival of my prospective children. Hmm? And so, therefore, I must develop an accurate analysis of the world today. And so, what I'm saying is that I'm really perplexed with the levels of hostilities. And I tried to think deeply, where do these things come from? And I've come to the conclusion that some of this comes from jealousy and envy, all right, as well as potential intelligence operations, meaning that various levels of law enforcement attempting somehow to discredit me, to discredit, show that you're a criminal, or that you will commit acts of violence. But I have one thing to say. You won't catch me slipping. So I say to those that have questioned anything, the truth of the matter is that many of us are just underdeveloped. We've been defeated by racism, white supremacy, and it has made us into a dysfunctional people. What I've attempted to do is to study, assess my situation, assess our history. But I don't assess history to dwell. That's the difference between my potential scholarship and other persons. All right? I'm not reading to be and maintain and be a degenerate. There are a lot of folk out here that have been taught by who many people perceive as great. And I don't know who reading this. I'm not in any categories. If I was, brother or sister, I give and submit my resignation to any affiliations, groups, because I've seen the level of contradictions, the absolute contradictions and hypocrisy that many so-called elders, that sisters have, that black men have. And so I'm saying I'm going to overcome all of that. But we're going to come back to part two.